Muskogee County Jail so we could teach men how to reconnect with their children, because we found out that men that do reconnect with their families don't come back to jail in the same numbers as those who don't. And YG Nyghtstorm, somebody in this jail, one of our sergeants read his book, brought that book to me, and we got in touch with him over the phone, and he agreed to get in the car, drive from Atlanta, Georgia in here, and went in that fatherhood dorm today. While he's in that dorm, he got those men excited about the hope that they have to be the fathers that live real productive lives and see their children never come back to jail. He touched those lives today, and I know some people changed.
I know that I can, 'cause I know who I am. Since the day I was born, I am Nyghtstorm. I know that I can, 'cause I know who I am. Since the day I was born, I am Nyghtstorm.
Greetings, everyone. In 2012, I had the opportunity to speak to inmates going through our Be a Better Dad program. Now, unfortunately, the audio is bad due to echoes, but I shared with these gentlemen how childhood trauma and growing up in a broken home has drastic effects on us all. I explained to them how I felt lost after I was raped as a child in 1985 when I was 11 years old. Now, my dad and my mom, they were at war with each other, and I had no one to turn to. Feelings of powerlessness turned to bitterness and evolved into full-blown hatred of everyone around me, including myself. These feelings of rejection and abandonment leads to a lot of children going astray. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how dads are vitally important and why we all, as parents, must work together for the sake of our babies, or our children will suffer. Let's dive deeper into these numbers, shall we? 63% of child suicide. That means a whole lot of babies are killing themselves because of that feeling of abandonment and rejection and not having anyone. And unfortunately, because of the circumstances that I grew up in and feeling abandoned and feeling rejected, I too tried to commit suicide several times in my youth because I honestly felt that no one loved me, that no one cared about me, that, mom and dad were so busy angry and arguing with each other that I simply just was not worth the time for them to give to me and give me the things that I needed. Now, of course, my mom and dad loved me, and my father died in 2007, Lord rest his soul, and I have a great relationship with my mom now. But during those times of trauma, times that I really needed someone to talk to, the help just simply wasn't there because they were both consumed, just like with a lot of relationships now. They were both consumed with the pain and the hurt of their failed marriage and who did what, whose fault it was, whose family was mad at who, whose friend was mad at whom, and it's just your fault. And a lot of the time, the children fall to the wayside. Now let's also look at this. 70% of youth incarcerated. That's babies going to jail because they have lost their way, because they have lost that hope. They have no leadership. And a lot of people find this funny because then even when we continue with the 71% of high school dropouts and 80% of rapists and 83% of children with behavior disorders all come from fatherless homes, and people wonder how important is dad? I know society likes to say that the fathers are not important, that we are no one and nobody and do not deserve any kind of recognition because we suck. That's what society says, and we are unimportant. But reality shows that babies growing up without fathers, regardless of race or gender or culture, growing up without dad has significant negative impact on the lives of children, community, society, and our overall families today. Now let's look at another graphic here. Let's pull this up. Growing up without dad, 4 times greater risk of poverty, 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teen, more likely to have behavioral problems, as we said before, more likely to face abuse and neglect, more likely to have greater risk of infant mortality, more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, more likely to go to prison, 2 times more likely to suffer obesity, more likely to commit crime, and 2 times more likely to drop out of high school. These are things that we are talking about right now. But if you don't think that that is significant enough, let me give you an example that you may be familiar with. We all know about the city of Rome and how powerful this Roman Empire was that was stemmed from Romulus and Remus, the twins, who were raised by a mythical wolf that created an incredible empire that dominated the world for centuries. Rome was powerful. Rome was great, right? But Rome had an Achilles heel. Rome typically sent out the strongest and most powerful men as soldiers to go out and conquer and gain more land for the empire. But the problem lies, ladies and gentlemen, and people wonder how Rome fell. Rome did not fall as the barbarians came in and invaded. Rome was already crippled from within because the fathers were gone. There was no leadership or discipline in the house as the children grew older and they became more rebellious against their moms, and the young men were not afraid of their mothers, so they would go out and commit crimes because there was no leadership, there was no structure, there was no controlling them, and the Roman Empire became corrupt from within by the dismantling of the family, and outside barbarians had an easy time coming in to sack the city. Unfortunately, this is what is happening in so many families across our country right now, where the inner cores of the family have been destroyed because the fathers have been removed from the household, either voluntarily or involuntarily. So what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, we need to infuse the fathers back. And in some cases, dad isn't coming back. So what we need to do as men, and I'm talking to the men right now listening in my audience, we need to have strong mentorship. Masculinity, gentlemen, is not toxic. Masculinity is needed to protect the family and to preserve the family, and for men to mentor young men so they can become strong men who mentor young men. So, mommy, stand up. And General, because he is the general. Why are you the general, sir?
So I can take care of my family and be the man of the house.
And you the leader, right?
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant, come on over. Stand next to the general. Stand next to the general. Okay. Now, I want y'all to be accountable to your mom, and mom, just step over just a little bit. I want you to look at your mother and tell her that you are now accountable. In general, you go first and tell her how you really feel about accountability.
I'm accountability of my sister, my brothers, and the house, and I want to be the man of the house.
And you will help mom.
And I'm gonna be a leader.
Okay.
And you understand that mom does everything, sacrifices everything for you, and you appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are not gonna let her down, are you?
I'm not.
I believe him. You believe him, mama?
Yeah, I hear it in his voice. I believe him.
Okay, young man, Lieutenant, come on over and talk to your mama. You tell her what you got to say.
Start taking care of my two.
Look at her in the eyes.
Make sure my live are okay. Make sure our room and bathroom stays clean, because we never know when company is going to come over. I'm going to help my brother out when he's down and stuff. And I'm going to help you when you need help.
And what about waking up early in the morning so you can get to school on time and have your supplies?
Yeah, I wake up in the morning on time without Raekwon helping me, so I can get up and go to school. And I won't get in trouble with Miss Castro no more.
Okay, so you promising mama that you gonna chill with getting in trouble at school and you gonna do your work and turn everything in?
Yes.
And you are accountable right now. Is that what you saying?
Yes.
Say, I'm accountable.
I'm accountable.
All right. Okay, let's get your other children in. Come on, baby. Come on, Leah. Where's the baby? That's right, General. Hold your sister. Now, what I like to do with this part right here, y'all get closer to mom. And when y'all see this video on my website, this is a beautiful family. And I want you to realize what you have. Okay, General? See, that's the baby. There you go. This is something special, and this is worth fighting for. This is what it's worth being a man for. This is worth protecting. This is worth saving. And unfortunately, sometimes, like how I grew up, your father may not be there. That's not your fault. But what is your fault is the actions that you do. That ain't nobody's fault. You can't blame him. You can't blame mom. You, as a man, have to step up. You accept that challenge, General.
Yes, sir.
And you, as a man, it don't matter that your dad not here or whatever. That's not your fault. But what is your fault is your actions, because you are now accountable. You accept this challenge, young man.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Malia, do you see your brothers?
Yes.
Do you believe that they're going to change? Now, do you also want to accept leadership in this household as well? Because you have to be an example to your baby sister. You have to help protect, and you have to be your big brother's strength, because they can't be strong all the time. And you have to understand, when they're trying to protect you, they love you. And if they tell you, don't be hanging with these types of folks and those type of folks, don't trip with them. They done been where you haven't, and they honestly want to protect you. You understand? So you agree to stand up and be a leader here too? All right, say, are you accountable?
Yes.
Say, I'm accountable.
I'm accountable.
All right. All right, we already know you accountable.
Yes.
All right, and sons, these are my sons. Y'all stand on up. This is, you'll introduce yourself.
Junior.
Junior
Teray.
and Teray, and this is what we do. Y'all get on over here. And this is what we do. We help folks help themselves. 9 times out of 10, the strength is already there. There's your strength right there. So can all y'all say thank you, mama?
Thank you.
Y'all can say it better than that. Say thank you, mama,
Thank you, Mom,
for everything you do,
for everything you do,
for sacrificing
for sacrificing,
and giving up everything
giving up everything,
so we can have.
so we can have.
Now hug your mama and give her a big old kiss. Tell her you love her. Get on, give her some love. Give her, give her a big old clap. This is beautiful. This is real stuff. Real stuff. Real stuff. Okay, well, Mom, do you have anything to say?
I just appreciate you guys coming over.
Mommy!
Because
Mommy!
it just had to come to a stop. You gotta end the cycle.
Yeah.
And it ends here. It ends here. So we have to change these kids.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want them to end up in the streets, in prisons. My brother did 10 years. Their stepdad right now is in prison. I mean, it gotta stop somewhere.
Yes, ma'am.
It stops here.
It stops here.
It stops here.
Does it stop here?
Yes, sir.
Does it stop here?
Yes.
It stops here.
And I want to tell you, I did not get to where I am by myself. I have had the love and support of black people, white people, Jew, Gentile, and everything in between. Our God loves us all, and we are going to love each other in the mighty name of Jesus.